In this video, I'm going to talk about cybersecurity job titles, what they mean, whether or not they matter, and what to do when your job title doesn't really reflect what you actually do in your job. Stay tuned, we'll talk about that. Hi, I'm Jordan with Cyber Zero to Hero, and I want to help 50,000 people enter the cybersecurity field and build a career that they love. The need for cybersecurity people is great, and the world needs people just like you to join, get good, and learn how to guide people and businesses on how to secure themselves better. Cybersecurity job titles are a mess. They are not standardized, and the title used by one company might not mean the same thing in another company. So how do you, A, choose a job when you're looking for a job through recruiters or for job adverts? Or how do you describe what you've done to your next employer? And we're going to talk about that. For entry-level positions, the three common titles that I've seen are analyst, engineer, and specialist. And in regulated industries, those titles are going to mean something that is comparable between the different companies and organizations within that regulated industry. But outside, it can mean anything. Those titles could be entry-level positions, or they might be senior positions. And the one I hate the most is analyst, because it is overused and it has lost all meaning. And I've got a story to tell you. It's story time. About halfway through my career, I was working as a security professional. I had a lot of experience, and a recruiter came to me saying that there was a security analyst job at a tech startup. And I immediately wanted to reject it. Like, I'm well beyond the analyst stage. This wasn't what I wanted. And the recruiter said, no, please read the description and read what they want you to do. And so I was looking through the description, and it was really senior. It was actually more senior than the job I had at the time. And it was a great opportunity. And if I just looked at the title alone, I would have completely missed it. And I was really concerned about this title because mostly security analyst is a junior position or an entry-level position. And I was well beyond the analyst level of things. I was in the design aspect. I was in the architecting. I was in that directing type of a mode, not analyzing. But everything that the job description had was all about designing, architecting, driving, directing, all of these things that I wanted to do anyway. So I went into the interview process knowing that the title was something we were going to have to work on. I didn't bring it up right away. You don't bring that type of stuff up right away. You bring that in at the end. And eventually, within the interview process, I negotiated, hey, I understand that this is the title that you've advertised. This is not an analyst role. Can we change that title to something else? And they said no. And I said, okay, so what if internally to the company, in my email signatures and everything internally, I'm a security analyst, but could I, with the company's permission, present myself as a security architect? Because I wasn't going to be able to get respect from my peers. I was not going to be able to be taken seriously during my speaking events, which I was doing a lot of at that time. And they finally said, sure, why not? It doesn't matter to them. They just had a title. They could call myself anything I wanted. And so everything that I did in presenting myself outside of the company, that's the title I used. So in my LinkedIn and in my resume, CVs, everything like that has security architect on it. So the title that you have isn't necessarily the most important thing. And there are some things that you can do when your title doesn't match what you're actually doing in your job. Or in many cases, and I've seen this too, when your job evolves, you're hired as an analyst, a specialist, an engineer, but then they ask you to do more and more and more and more things. And now what you end up doing isn't what you were hired to do, but your title hasn't changed. How do you handle that? I'm going to talk about that. If you're liking this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, and make sure you hit the little bell icon so that you never miss the next video. So how do you handle when your title doesn't match what you do? This is actually pretty easy. There's three things I would suggest. One, negotiate. Talk with HR, talk with your employer, and politely ask. You don't want to push too hard, but because there's other things you can do. We're going to talk about them in a second. But ask. I mean, simply negotiate and ask, hey, look, my role is changed or is different from the title. Can I get a different title? They might say no, and that's fine. If they say no, you've got some options. One, in your CV or resume on LinkedIn, put a note saying what it is that you do, like what your role was in reality, and then within the description or in some kind of explanation say, official title was this, but equivalent to this other thing that's more reflecting of reality. So you can do these things and everyone will basically understand, because everyone's been in this situation at some point in their career. To say, yes, I was a security architect, official title was security analyst, but it was the role was equivalent to a security architect position. The other thing you can do is to go to the NIST framework. And within that, the NIST organization has tried to define what each of the 52 job roles within cybersecurity are, and the types of things they need to know, and the types of tasks that they generally do. You can compare what you are doing in your job to that framework, and then have a NIST-NICE comparison. So I am a security analyst, for instance, but my role is, according to NIST-NICE, this other thing, security architect, or whatever it happens to match to. And so that's something you can do. And by attaching it to the NICE framework, then you can make sure that you're consistent and it's comparable to something, a third-party approach, as opposed to just your own opinion. And that's always good. The fourth bonus point that I would love to add here is don't worry about titles. Titles don't mean that much anyway. Yes, having a great title like Chief Information Security Officer always looks good and it gets that respect right away. But it ultimately doesn't matter. What matters more is your experience and your knowledge. And yes, titles can be that step in the door, right? It's that way to open the door to get the conversation going. But it's far, far more important that when you are choosing a job, when you're looking for a job, when you're applying for jobs, don't look at the title so much. It's not that important. What you want to look for is not the title, but the opportunity. What you will learn, what kind of experience you will gain, and who you will be learning from within the company. Are there people that are going to help you grow your career, grow your understanding, and make you better as a cybersecurity professional? If your focus is there, call yourself a janitor, call yourself a window washer. It no longer matters. And what's valuable is what you learn and what you take away from that experience, not the title. If you want to grow a career in cybersecurity, start by hitting the subscribe button and never miss the next video that comes out. Thank you very much. See you next time.